too.
Good evening. It's Friday night, Paranormal Science Lab Live. I'm Lisa.
And I am Juan Carlos.
Stop.
Way to go, SCOTUS! Woo!
Yes.
I was unfriended. Are you going to introduce yourself, Mother?
Why should I?
Oh, don't.
No, I missed that one.
I'm Juan's madre.
Juan.
Juan Carlos is
The matra
madre.
is in the house.
Madre.
Matra is French.
We don't speak French here.
Well, I do.
I do.
No, we don't like the French.
You're the only one that doesn't.
I'm okay with that.
We ought to like the French, or we wouldn't be Americans.
I don't like the French.
I don't like the Spanish, so.
I don't care either.
I don't like
Okay.
anybody. I like both of them.
I think
Zip
we
it,
should just
troops.
zip. Why don't we just
Mother has spoken.
make a parking lot out of all of it?
Well, we're going off topic quick.
That didn't take long.
Train already derailed.
Train wreck.
We also have in the house.
Benton. And
Benton.
Tristan. Stop.
You can't throw things at him.
No, because I don't have anything to throw.
There are objects in the room.
Yeah, I don't feel like getting up. Got all these problems.
Getting back on topic.
Waiting on you all to get going.
I don't know, Juan. You threw us under the bus there, you know.
I didn't throw anybody under the bus.
Our topic tonight is.
As long as it's not the French.
I don't even want to get into this conversation. So anyway,
Topic: haunts of Northeast Oklahoma.
Yes.
Yes, featuring the Coleman Theater in Miami.
But why is it featuring the Coleman Theater in Miami?
Because we're going to be investigating it.
That is amazing!
And what a coincidence!
It's a quinky dink!
wow.
What? It's a cool old theater.
It is.
Cool.
Very pretty.
What are you wowing about then?
The quinky dink part.
It's a quinky dink. It's a quinky dink that we're gonna talk about the Coleman Theater and we're gonna investigate it tomorrow. I know, right?
He was fit to say it on Tootie.
Yeah. I know.
So-
We're still talking about Tootie. It's Tristan's drag queen name, Tootie.
It is not.
Trying to think if that would make a drag queen name or not.
They call you Tootie Fruity.
I've heard worse.
Oh, it's bad. Oh, wow, dizzy. Ooh.
And should be.
Yeah. You know, that lack of oxygen there.
Tutti Frutti.
No, it's not catching on.
Okay.
I can call him Tutti Frutti if I want to.
You're digressing.
I'm not going
You
anywhere.
can get back to the Coleman.
Yes.
What about? Well, go ahead. I'm not stopping you.
You're not helping things in it either.
So what's the history of the Coleman Theater?
The Coleman Theater was built in the late 1920s by Mr. Coleman, who'd made a fortune in the mining industry, and he wanted to create a world-class cultural contribution to the area, draw people in. So he built this fabulous theater that, I mean, it was like $600,000 to build in the 20s.
Wow.
And so
Translating, what do you think that would cost today to build it?
4 or 5 billion.
it'd be a lot.
Several million.
Several million.
I mean, you're talking about handcrafted wood, and I mean that.
And
that
it's
place
huge.
Is pretty,
It's gorgeous.
It's big.
I've been in there. It's really gorgeous.
And I have no idea, but definitely 8 figures.
Oh, probably
Yeah, 10 million plus.
And just trying to do it in the time frame they wouldn't.
Oh yeah, it was done in less than a year. I mean, it was just. It was amazing. But they had world-class acts from opera, vaudeville, music, and then later they showed movies too. All kinds of stars went through there. Frank Sinatra.
And I missed
Elvis.
him?
Yes. I mean, all the...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, so you had, they had ballets there, I mean, all kinds of things, but it's kind of interesting because there was other buildings on the site before that was built, including ones that were burned and so forth. And
Yeah,
so,
there was a jail there or something on it.
yeah, there was a jail there at one time, and then later there was another building there, and there was a funeral home there, and
Oh, my.
and then the theater, and there's a Masonic Lodge upstairs in the building.
No, it's no longer a Masonic Lodge. It's just a room.
Right, but it was.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was, And so you had all kinds of things. There are all kinds of legends of hauntings there, everyone from Mr. Coleman himself to different performers to a little boy that's been seen in the theater as well as down in the basement, and it's kind of interesting because for a long time the Coleman kind of downplayed the haunted aspect of the building, and it's only recently that they've kind of embraced that side of the history and what goes on there. So it's just a spectacular building. I mean, we went through it. John, Tristan, and I all went through it. What was your favorite part, Tristan?
I like the staircase. I always talk about that staircase because it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And it's got that statue on it that was the staff would touch the lady's bum,
Mhm.
I guess, put it in a nice word. They would pat her bum because it would be kind of like a good luck charm kind of
Mhm.
thing for like a good night. Valets would do it mostly because they were outside working and trying to just get everything done, and trying to make money also, because back then valets didn't get paid that much.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then also that switchboard in the
Oh, wasn't that cool?
yeah, there used to be a Buddha statue on top of that switchboard for good luck, so that the crew behind all the theater stuff would get things right. And then,
Which is fascinating, by the way, considering the time period. There probably wasn't a lot of Buddhists just running around.
Yeah.
Northeast Oklahoma.
Well, from everything that you see in the building and everything, I think Mr. Coleman was fairly progressive thinking for the time, and so probably embraced more things than a lot of people would have at the time.
yeah, and that cool thing about that switchboard was that there was a phone on there, so you could call Mr. Coleman, and if there was something going wrong, it was right there in the middle. It was pretty cool.
Was it the hotline?
Kind of.
It wasn't red. It wasn't a red phone though.
One red.
There was a direct line.
Yeah.
And how about the screen on the stage?
Oh, that was pretty.
Yeah, that screen is amazing.
I mean,
and
it's
original.
original, hand painted.
Yeah,
Okay.
hand painted back in like the early 1900s.
Worth over $1 million by itself. Just
Mhm.
that painting.
Oh, and that chandelier, like a ton.
Oh yeah, that chandelier in the center.
That'll be falling on me tomorrow. You watch.
Well, let's hope not, because it's probably as big as this room,
Anyway,
at least. What was your favorite part, John?
the basement.
Yeah, I have to admit, the basement's pretty intriguing.
I like pretty buildings and all, but the basement's interesting. It's got an interesting background. Looking forward to spending some time down there. It still has the original boiler and everything down there. And there's still some leftovers from the cremations and stuff like that. So there's
The
probably
crematorium's in there.
still probably some leftover dust. I'll have to take some jars with me and collect some things.
Because that's not going to do anything bad. That's not. Gonna
So
make
I didn't know
somebody-
they cremated back. It had to have been how many years ago?
Well, because the building when they built it in the 20s was built over the original foundation walls in the basement of the building that was there before. And so it was built in the late 1800s and then the building burnt and sat for a few years in the 20s empty, but Mr. Coleman owned it because he owned the hotel across the street. And so when he decided to build his theater, he just used the basement as was and then reinforced the walls. So
I'm a little surprised that he didn't have some sort of tunnel.
there is supposed to be a tunnel to the hotel.
Yeah, but we never saw an entrance to a tunnel.
No, but
Which, why would they fill it in?
I don't know.
There's-
Unless maybe the city required it at some point.
There's a lot of tunnels that used to be open but now are closed.
We know that, but there would be no point in filling that in, really,
Well, unless something at some point
unless it
became an issue.
collapsed or something like
Something
that,
under the street.
structurally unsound.
Or maybe whoever bought one or the other didn't want the tunnel open.
See, and that's horrible. Just to keep things like that open, because there's stuff in there that could be interesting to find later.
Oh yeah, but that happens all the time. I mean, I remember a few years ago I was actually at Walmart getting photos, and the fellow that was there knew me and was talking to me about Civil War stuff, and this lady was standing there going, they lived outside of Carthage, and said, "Oh yeah, we found a bunch of that kind of stuff. There was someone had dug a bunker and they found it on their land and still had Civil War stuff in it, and we were like, oh wow, that's so cool. You ought to donate it to the museum." She's like, "Oh, we didn't want any of that shit. We just poured concrete in and covered it up." And I just, was like, I just don't understand that philosophy, but a lot of people have it.
Let's destroy history. Yay! Well, let's destroy history with other history because concrete is very historical. It was first created by the Romans.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But you looked at me like I was stupid.
it's not really historical though. It's concrete.
Well, it created historical places, but you know,
Yeah, okay. Created historical places, yes.
okay,
Concrete.
but they didn't exactly fill this in with the Colosseum or something.
I know. but
Well,
still.
wasn't it Edison, though, that made the first concrete houses?
No,
Who was it?
the Romans.
Well, no, I mean, in the United States.
Okay.
I think he did actually.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I
There was a
remember
deal
seeing
on
something like
TV.
that on TV.
In fact, I think I have it DVR'd. It didn't go over as well as he thought it would, but so he was pretty
I
disappointed.
don't remember his purpose for doing that
It
either.
was because they were supposed to be more able to withstand the elements and like termites and whatnot. He thought they would be a more stable home for people.
And there are poor concrete houses.
And I don't want to see a termite that can eat a concrete
Yeah.
house. I'll be real
That's
honest.
true. I mean,
That would be a frightening ass
But
bug.
I think he. I need to go back and watch that again. But I think he was the one that made the forms. I mean, did the things so that made the forms to make the walls and blah blah blah.
That was my stomach.
I do have it on DVR, so if y'all want to watch it, it is.
You just go over to mom's house.
you can watch it and then you can give us a follow up next week.
I have several. I have Joan of Arc on there and a whole bunch of different things, all in that 160 minutes.
There you go.
So anyway.
So what are some of the... All right. So here we are back to the topic.
And actually, we forgot to say that the Coleman was a competitor for one of the biggest theaters in that area at the time when it was first built. I forgot what the biggest one was, but it was fairly large. But then the Coleman came in, and it was like a competitor for the first, the biggest one in that area.
Well, and it started drawing basically bigger acts and bigger shows than the bigger cities, like Tulsa or Kansas City or whatever, and so you had entertainment in Miami, Oklahoma that normally you would see in Chicago or New York or whatever. So
And there was a reason behind that.
yes,
Why was that, Miss Lisa?
because he could draw people in with his influence.
Well, it was partly because of his wife, too.
Right.
his wife got tired of traveling, so that's kind of part of the reason he built it.
That's true.
That, and for his people that were working for him in the mines, and he felt that they needed a place to have theater, or watch theater.
Right, to be
Cultured.
to have more culture than just a mining town, and to entertain his wife. So
Because there's no bordellos or anything around mining towns, so they need.
Well, I'm sure she wouldn't have been interested in the bordello.
I was just gouging that.
Also,
What?
the cool thing about Mr. Coleman is that he would sit up in that back, the top
his office,
back,
yeah.
or not the office, but the top. His family
yeah.
set was where the politically correct term would be Negroes sat at the time, but he sat there back. He sat back with them.
Yeah, he was very progressive. He wasn't near as segregationist as most of the time period was. You look like you want to say something.
Nope, just listening.
Just listening.
You guys are the historical buffs. I could care
He's
less.
copying out is what he's doing.
Kind
History.
Okay, based on going through, where do you expect the most activity? And don't just say the basement.
That's where I expect the most activity.
Okay, other than the basement.
Other than the basement.
Probably the stage.
Yeah, I think there's probably activity.
I don't think
In
they say there's something up on the balcony. I don't think there's anything on the balcony. I think there may be something in his old office.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the dressing rooms.
Maybe that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Maybe the dressing rooms. But I definitely think the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. So I mean, we'll cover the balcony, but I don't expect to see anything up there. I don't expect to collect anything up there.
And that's like the most. It's like, watch that be like the most activity we get out of the whole entire place from the balcony.
You never
don't
know.
think so.
I mean, you never know. I mean, I did while we were staying in the lobby catch movement
That's
up there.
That's not the lobby. I'm not talking about that balcony.
Oh, you're talking about
I'm
upstairs.
I'm talking about
The theater.
The theater.
Oh,
balcony.
okay.
Now that second level, that's we'll catch stuff up there.
to the manager's office and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of activity up there.
Yeah.
You can feel it just walking through there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't the balcony and the projection room and everything. No, I didn't really get much.
I mean, I'm curious about the projection. But other than that, I'm not. I really didn't. They were like, "Oh, I smell a scent, and I feel this," and I'm like,
I didn't.
"Really? Okay." I missed it. So
Well,
everybody's different. We pick up different things.
and the tour guides, have their own experiences and everything.
Well, and I really think that there's some. Yeah, I'm going to reserve judgment on that.
Yeah, until we see what happens. But, and I'm sure, I mean, from just what we've heard, I'm sure there's a lot of different stories over the years, and I've heard different things from different people who've been in the theater and related to performances and so forth, saying that they had experiences on the stage or being on stage and seeing something like someone was out in the seating area when no one was there and
But
things like that.
that's pretty common for theaters, though. And
Right.
A lot of people really enjoyed them, and especially the actors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced somebody died on that stage. I'll almost tell you where it was.
Well, and I really wonder if maybe a stagehand or something, because they had to
Right.
be way up in the scaffolding and everything, working the lights and those curtains. That I just kind of got the idea maybe someone fell or something back there while they were working.
I think that was the impression I got.
Yeah, especially as you're facing the stage, the rear right side.
That's
Yeah,
exactly where I thought.
mm-hmm.
And that
when I
green,
walked through it.
and that green room.
Yeah, the
With
green.
the-
God, that place is haunted.
That's where they see the ballerina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know about that because
He doesn't even play with me anymore.
No.
Oh, he's being serious. He's taking this serious. Proud of him.
I really do wish I'd have known this when I went to the wedding that was down there. I might have been paying more attention.
Yeah. What did they say that green room was used for? Just for the actors?
Yeah, but there was something else at some point. I forget. There was maybe they stored props in there. I can't remember. No,
there
was
a girl
something.
that somebody had to be down there for something. For some reason, I don't remember what it was either. I don't really even want to know, to be real honest. But
I don't remember the details on that, but
because they say they get activity down there in the mirror,
Mm-hmm.
so we want to make sure we try to cover that while we're down there.
yeah, that people will.
This place is so big, we're going to have to get handhelds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure what the square footage would be in that place.
No, and there's so many separated areas that it's just we don't have enough.
You would almost, if you want to cover, you'd almost have to move cameras partway through if you wanted to get every pertinent place on DVR.
I don't even know how we're going to run video right now.
No, well, we can. I mean, it's going to be weird because we're not used to a building this big.
Yeah.
I mean, and if we do any buildings that we have that are even close, we only do a floor at a time.
The closest is when we used to do the Olivia. It was, and the difference here is, at least there you could run everything pretty much through the stairwells. And it's not going to be real easy to do that there because you don't have access
it's
that
all different
way,
levels and different funky.
from all broken up. So you can't get down here except for over one end of the building and the next floor the other end of the building. And
I wish we had bought more HD cameras before we did this.
Yeah.
But well, so I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good investigation.
Yes, I'm looking forward to being able to report back on what it is. And another thing is, that they do show movies. They do have performances there.
Oh, they still do?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
Somebody had asked me about that, but I said no, I don't think so. I think it's just a museum. But
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were still.
They do, but I mean, it's like when the day we were there, that Saturday, they were going to have a marathon, I think, of Charlie Chaplin movies and things.
Yeah.
They do different
That
things,
would be fun.
and things to highlight historical film and this and that. And I think they do still have some plays occasionally and so forth, but not all the time. And then they do daily tours, and I would encourage anyone in the area or coming through to check it out.
Yeah, it was weird because while we were there, a French tour came through and was like, French people all the way in here?
Well, but it's on Route 66,
Yeah,
and that's what you.
66. That's such a big deal around in
Yeah.
other countries. I mean, it's more of a big deal in other countries than it is to people here.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's.
That's the mother road.
Yeah, and people from Route 66 has cult status in Europe, especially Britain, and so people from Europe will tour Route 66 and stop different places. So, that doesn't surprise me at all. But people ought to go. It's very reasonable prices, and it helps keep the theater open. It's owned by the city. No one's making a killing off of it, and there's a lot of upkeep to it.
I don't know, what do they charge for tours?
I think you can go through for free, but you can donate.
Right.
So, and I don't remember what the admission price for the movies was going to be, but I just remember thinking that was real reasonable.
That'd be fun.
They also have shops running through there, so if while you're there you want to pick some like souvenirs or stuff up.
Right.
Candy. They have candy, which is important to me.
Yes, we know.
That popcorn?
I guess.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
It's probably pretty old. I mean,
Yeah, from 1930.
probably not, probably got weevils in it.
They probably got a microwave we could make some.
A weevil-less popcorn?
Yeah.
No, a little weevil's good for high protein.
They kind of get stuck in your throat, though.
You don't see weevils anymore.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
See?
I've seen weevils probably in the last 10 years.
I don't think I have.
I haven't seen anything in a long time.
I haven't seen any. I don't think I've seen a weevil since we lived on the farm. You used to have to check your cereal before you got too crazy with it.
I don't even know what a weevil is, so.
It's a bug.
It's because they
Well, I figured that part.
genetically modified our food to where it doesn't even support
Weevils.
the weevils are like, nah, I ain't that crap.
It's probably true.
That probably is true to a big extent, but so yeah, I mean, I highly encourage anyone that, if they're going down Route 66 to check it out, or if you're from the four-state area, go check it out, because
There's lots of interesting buildings on Route 66, and some are a little off the beaten path, but the Bordello in Galena is on 66, but it's kind of funky how it zigzags around, but
right.
still neat places.
It is. I mean, and actually, we have several locations that are, on Route 66. Kendrick House is too. It's on the original Route 66.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just never noticed.
Yeah. And then
I think you should do the bar that's down there at Galena.
I ain't going in that bar.
I was in that bar.
Bucks.
No.
I don't know what the
No.
hell it was.
Oh.
No, it's rods and what is that?
Hot rods and syphilis or something like that.
Hogs and hot rods.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I haven't noticed it. Of course, I don't go to Galena a whole lot.
It's when we go the back way by the trash dump.
Uh-huh.
It's right there before the trash dump on the right hand side. Literally, like after you make a turn, it's probably a quarter mile.
Oh, so
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking like in town.
You know, those little bars are the most fun because that's where the real people are.
I like the
We're
face.
not into these highballs, mimosas and.
No, I don't
all
like
that
that,
crap.
but I don't want to be concerned about touching
I
any
think
or
it's
drinking
fun.
the beer.
I was in there.
Hey, my favorite place in Korea was called the Top Hat, and that place was a hole. Literally. I remember one time
So
it
what
filled
do you-
with water because it was raining so hard.
And he still drank.
We were still drinking, and the squadron commander comes down. You get your asses back to the barracks. We didn't even realize we were 4 inches in water. That's how drunk we were. But
Something about it just throws you off, huh?
I know, right?
Yeah.
We were paddling back to the barracks. Typhoon season.
If only we had cameras. So
I know.
Caught that.
It's probably good we didn't.
That could have been used in court martials.
So, what are some of the other investigations or things about Northeast Oklahoma that scare people?
Well, of course, you have the spook light,
Yep.
Devil's Promenade.
Yeah, and what's it? Okay, I want to write a book just about the fact that Spook Light is not on Devil's Promenade. You know how many times I've read that going through?
I know, or people will
Articles.
think that the spook light is called Devil's Promenade.
Right. Or they say it's in Hornet. The Spook Light is not in Hornet. It's probably 10 miles from Hornet.
Oh,
What,
it's 10 miles.
no.
It's a long ass ways.
It's
No.
not that.
No, it actually was originally called the Hornet Spook Light. That is the original name for it.
But it's not in Hornet.
Well,
I can't
Hornet-
help it.
Hornet is the closest town.
No, Peoria is the closest town.
Well, apparently the people from Peoria didn't.
They didn't pay enough to get their name on there.
They didn't talk about it enough. Anyway,
It's not even in Missouri.
okay. It's been
Good
called.
God almighty.
It's been called the Hornet Spook Light, the Joplin Spook Light, the Tri-State Spook Light.
Just a regular spook light. Spook light.
It's the Spook Light. He's having an existential dilemma here over
I don't
there.
even know what existential means.
You just can't handle the fact that Hornet is not on top of the spook light.
That's what I'm saying. Right
There you go. You're having a dilemma with reality.
Not
over
even
it.
in the same damn state, people. Not even in the same
one of these
state.
days they'll call the downstream.
Probably.
Probably, that's right.
Should
So
have called it the Emmett spook light.
There you go.
there you go.
Fine.
Well,
We
you know,
actually live
okay,
down there.
okay. So now I'm going to really make you mad.
Okay.
Well, if it's not close enough to Hornet, it's closer to Devil's Promenade. So at least you can probably understand how people got confused.
No. It's not that close to Devil's Promenade. It's probably 5 miles from Devil's Promenade.
It's not 5 miles.
Let's go mark it.
It's probably 3. It's not. It's probably about the same distance to
You know,
Hornet.
seriously, it's probably only 3 miles to Hornet, but you have to take that road.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
that
recurs
Straighten it out and go
Yeah.
like the birds go.
by the way
It would probably only be a half a mile.
as crow flies.
Mile and a half. But it's not even in Missouri, so Hornet's completely out of the picture.
But you know what?
There was no settlement.
It's
in-
not
over
like you can say, Spook Light, this is Missouri. You
It's-
can't come over here.
It's a good 2 miles inside of Oklahoma.
No,
Well,
no,
okay,
no,
okay,
no.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
No, no,
Mark
no.
it off.
No,
No.
They're
no,
1 mile squares. Mark it off.
no. It's right there.
no.
It's just
It's just across the road.
it's just down from the state line road. No, I think you've been smoking too much.
Hey, Walmart's got a deal on getting your eyes checked.
We saw it when we were kids and had really good vision.
It was a long ass time ago, wasn't it?
Oh.
1 mile squares.
No, but you see it right there at what they used to call what's that thing?
Spookies.
Spooky?
Spookies, yeah.
Why you
I've
think it's
nobody's
called
ever seen it up that
spooky?
high.
Yes,
Well,
they did.
That was from the moonshine they were drinking in
Well.
Spookies.
You know? At least it wasn't that nasty stuff.
Like what?
Made up.
What's
Oh, yeah.
That just make you see
It's
all
good old
kinds of
moonshine.
moonshine.
There you go.
Made
But
from natural ingredients.
Like
Still
what?
causes liver damage.
Not really. Oh, your phone's ringing.
yeah, deal with it then.
I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna take pictures of it, of how far it is.
He's gonna walk it off.
You know what? You're going to cross the state line. It's going to come beat you on the head.
That's okay because I've seen it.
Yeah.
Just because you saw it at the house doesn't mean it doesn't go up further.
No, it doesn't. It told me it didn't.
Talk to him. You know, but and we put this in the blog about the show, but you know, Spook Light and then Devil's Promenade and Hoffman's Mansion, all those things right in that area, kind of bring up the point.
Ooh, Hoffman's Mansion.
Yeah,
I've been by there.
that a lot of these haunted sites in that area are outside or not easily accessible, and people tend to go look for them on their own. Mm-hmm. And it brings up questions about, are you where you're supposed to be? Do you have permission to be there? And what can happen? Because some of these places almost turn into urban exploring versus, being curious about the haunting or spook light.
Well, I had some people come up and ask me the other day, and they said that they went on the property around Hoffman's Mansion, which is trespassing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
What is supposed to be about with Hoffman's Mansion? What's the history
oh,
on
there's
that
all
one?
kinds of.
Yeah, Hoffman's Mansion, it's real interesting because it's the Hoffman-Quapaw family. Old man Hoffman married into the original Quapaw family. And he made his fortune in the early oil fields in Oklahoma. And then I think in the 1880s or 1890s built this mansion there. And they raised their family and everything. There were a couple of smallpox outbreaks, and a number of the Hoffman children died. And there are a number of child graves on site. And that's kind of
What
led.
is that, like a block and a half from State Line Road? I mean, from your guys' distance. It's like-
Oh, that'd be about probably 3.5, 4 miles.
oh, it's 3.5, 4 miles to Hoffman, but it's only 3 to Devil's Promenade.
They're not that far apart.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know where I don't know. He must drive in circles. You know those sections that you were talking about? You don't circle them 3 times before you stop.
You do know that you can tell distance by those sections, right?
Yes. You do know that we've probably been out there a lot more than you over time, too.
I lived out there.
So did I.
Yeah, she did, too.
You didn't drive around like I did.
I don't know.
Maybe drive around looking for me, but you didn't find me.
But anyway, the family ended up over time not living at the mansion, and the land was rented out in the 40s to a couple running a summer camp, and they just didn't make a go of it. After a couple of years, the business folded, and the family never lived there any longer. The family still owns it today, and in the 60s, the mansion caught fire and burned. There's a caretaker house that was on site, and it's kind of dilapidated and most of it's gone. Some of the walls are left, and that's about it. And so these urban legends grew up because people going out and getting spooked and having experiences out there, saying shadow people would follow them, things like that, and then they'd find the graves. And urban legends grew up that kids were killed at the summer camp and things like that. And
Makes sense.
but they weren't. They're the graves of the Hoffman kids. And so people started spreading stories and getting themselves freaked out. And so people would try to sneak on the property to check it out. And it's fenced. Most of the time the gates are locked and it's marked no trespassing. Then, I don't know, about 15 years ago or so, there was a incident where they found a burnt out van on the property with a body in it. And they think it was a drug deal gone bad. And so that really spiked interest again. People saying, what caused it and everything. And so it's just, a lot of it is urban legend, but there are a lot of stories of people having experience of seeing shadow people and stuff out there.
What about the goat man near Devil's Promenade?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that's a cryptid story around here with the Indians that they call it Goatman's Holler. That it's like a Sasquatch or Bigfoot type creature, but with horns, kind of like billy goat horns. And actually, talking to some of the Seneca Cayuga elders, the stories are that it's always been there. They've always been there. They've seen them. They kind of, they tend to watch them from the trees, from the ridge lines, things like that. And they talked about a few years ago, creek that ran through the property was flooding, and so DNR had come in to dredge part of it to help the flooding. And so some of these DNR agents were down there working, and they hear gunshots. So they go down to see what happened, and they start talking about seeing this creature, kind of like Bigfoot, had come towards them, and I guess they had shot at it they had a rifle with them, and that it had bellowed, etc. at them when they shot it, and it had ran off, but they left and said they wouldn't come back without a shotgun. So, but I mean, there are sightings for Bigfoot in the area. I've heard several accounts of people saying they've seen Bigfoot creatures over by Sarcotsy in that area. So it may well be.
So So what's the story behind Devil's Promenade?
Devil's Promenade is a natural outcropping over Spring River, and it's been used as ceremonial land by various Indian tribes for hundreds of years.
In fact, there's a cemetery up there.
Yeah, and I know at different times that the Osage used it, and I think the Delaware and the Quapaws, and I think that the Cherokees camped there as they went through on the Trail of Tears too. And there's different legends of that an Indian chief died up there, and different things, and there are stories of lights up there too in the past. And so some people say, well, it's the spook light that it travels down there. Some people say it's something separate. I think it's very likely that there's something going on there, being ceremonial land. Plus, it's over the river. It's
through the woods.
Yeah, to grandmother's house.
We go.
And it's a huge outcropping of limestone. So you got a lot of crystal, etc., in the limestone. So it's very likely there's a lot of energy. So, that people see lights and stuff, I'm not really surprised. But it's on private land too at this point. You can see it from the bridge, and then of course there's the legends of the bridge.
Yeah, the original bridge was there for when we lived there. Drove across it many times. I don't remember what the folklore is behind it. Something about being on the bridge at a certain time and devil.
Yeah, because there's variations, but most of the stories are if you're there at midnight, and you either, some of the versions are you go to the middle of the bridge and ask for the devil to appear, or
and then you get run over.
That could happen.
Not on that old bridge. Nobody went that fast.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Now it's true. But,
yeah.
Or some said that if you cross the bridge back and forth so many times, one version was 3, one was 7.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That you could summon him, and that he would appear. A lot of people would say that they could cross the bridge and hear horses and so forth, and that it was the devil.
Man.
That's more likely to be the goat man, but yeah,
that makes you wonder if the goat man created that.
It's very possible,
or vice versa. I think probably the goat man was first. But.
Well, yeah, because if people saw him there, and it's not very far, that I could see the legend coming up that it was some evil creature, the devil, or whatever. There's also tales that you can summon little people there too.
So we ended the people, like the fairies.
They done from the windows.
Well, like the Cherokee little people, which their version of little people is very much like Irish fairies. Not necessarily nice.
There's a lot of Irish married Cherokees.
Yeah, but
Happened in our family.
Mm-hmm. But they, the story goes that that most of them are like 2 or 3 feet tall, just like Indians, with hair down to the ground.
Oh, you're a little people.
But that they will steal, they will kidnap people, they will steal things, trick people, that kind of thing. And the legend is you don't speak of them, and if you see them, you never speak of it. There's a legend of Chief Ross, one of the early chiefs down at Tahlequah, on a hunting expedition. His party came across the little people, and they turned around and literally rode off, and he told everyone never to mention it because it would bring bad luck.
I've talked about the little person I've seen a lot.
But the way you describe him, he doesn't look like, it's not like he's an Indian.
No, he's a furball.
Well, okay, so I'm not sure that that's the same thing.
Who, German?
No. He is a little people.
But and the legend is if you put out sweets for them, that they will appear for you and they'll grant wishes.
They
But
like shiny things.
Right, but usually they say, sugar or candy, things like that.
So
and they'll grant wishes.
It's sounding more and more like you all the time, Mom. I mean, shiny things and candy.
Does she grant wishes?
Sometimes.
Well,
if you ask her for cookies, she will.
But then the thing is that there's always a price to be paid for, and you don't know what it's going to be.
There's a price to be paid.
Okay.
Oh yes. It's going to do with building a greenhouse next fall.
So you just cut your hair to disguise yourself, then, right?
Well, see, that's your whole point. You notice that.
So you have all those legends just within a few square miles.
Square miles, not square feet. Next time we go out there, we're going to count.
I think he was drinking way too much when he was driving around those roads because.
I don't know what you're talking about. There was never beer cans in my car, ever.
No.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, you're not selling that story here. We're not buying it.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
I'll buy it.
Thanks, son.
I mean, and there's various stories in Northeast Oklahoma. I mean, Fort Gibson has a lot of activity.
What is it about Fort Gibson?
Well, the old fort is haunted. In fact, there's times that people have seen phantom soldiers, and they think that there's reenactors, things like that. I know I've been down there and talked to rangers at the park that they will have reenactors come in, and when they camp at night, and they will see phantoms and so forth a lot then. And there's stories of people going through the park and the buildings and everything and seeing people in period clothing and assuming that they work for the park, and then are told, no one's over there today, that kind of thing. There's a house there in Gibson, close to the fort, the McBride House, that is supposed to be very, very haunted. House built back in the 1800s and just haunted by family members and so forth, and seems to be pretty notorious in the area. It's a museum now; people can visit it. Down at Tahlequah, at the university, the seminary hall is very haunted. Investigated there, and that's actually one of the first places that several of our team members actually saw a full body apparition. And
is it Native Americans or is it something else?
Well, of course, originally the school was Cherokee, and the spirit that is seen there the most is, and I forget her name, but she was early headmistress there, and was there for like 30 or 40 years, and we literally were setting cameras on the second floor. There's a huge balcony, and they're watching monitors and having us adjust cameras. And we start getting questions on the walkie-talkie of who was standing next to me and Brian. And we're looking at each other going, what are you talking about? And there was a full-body apparition that on camera was appearing in white dress. And but we couldn't see her by the naked eye. That place too, was the first place I actually saw doorknobs turning, unlocked rooms that were empty, things like that. But the original school burnt years ago, and they think there's a lot of energy connected with that. And even when they rebuilt it way back when, those spirits have remained.
Well, they're not too far north of there. There are some energy lines that run through.
Right. And I think
Ley lines?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's not too surprising.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, and I know there's quite a few sites in the Tulsa area, but that's kind of a little further away. But there's just a lot of activity in a lot of places, and I think a lot of it has to do with native spirits. I thought one thing interesting talking to the Seneca tribe was that they recognize shadow people and ancestor spirits very differently. They call certain shadow people Iwa, and they see them.
Ewoks.
No, Iwa.
I know.
I love Ewoks.
I do too, but these aren't fuzzy; they're furry.
You don't know that. They could be.
Well, I guess they could be.
Have you seen one?
I haven't seen one, but
Exactly.
they say that they are actually they take on a physical shape.
Furry is a physical shape.
So is round.
That too.
So it's spiky, I mean, but
Could have seen Ewok coming out of that bush that time.
Wow.
Could have been an Ewok.
Or a very short, hairy man.
A really short, hairy man.
Okay, let Lisa finish what she's saying.
either that or a
Gosh,
Chihuahua walking on his hind legs.
We had a cat named Chewbacca.
There you go. But they see the Iwa as physical, tangible, and that if you run into them, it's like running into a person.
Oh.
And they see them as negative or evil spirits. So
They sometimes see them. They're like shadow people that can take form, right? And
pretty much that they actually take on a physical form.
the Native Americans believe that shadow people are shamans that went to the wrong side of the helping people fence.
Mm-hmm.
Basically started doing black, like, I hate to use the word black magic, but
Or
like a
more of a negative.
negative shamanism as opposed to helping heal
Perhaps
people.
that's what that is at the Hendrick House.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Could be me. You in past life.
Yeah, it doesn't really take a physical form though.
Uh-oh.
No, it's just a mist. But why are you yawning?
Because you guys won't let me have any fun.
Okay, you can have all the fun you want
Now
now.
it's too late. Show's almost over now.
So now you're gonna pout.
I don't have to pout. I just don't have to say nothing.
So, the area that's south on 43 where the tornado went through in 2008 and several people were killed, do you see that as a potential paranormal experience, perhaps?
Possibly.
Yeah,
Sure.
Sure.
Why not?
Whenever people pass, and particularly in a tragic way, sudden way, and there's just so much energy released, I think, yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, we sure saw it with the tornado zone in Joplin. So, yeah, I mean, if someone is living right there and having experiences, it doesn't surprise me if it's related to what happened in the tornado.
Yeah, I would definitely think, and it, you know, it wouldn't necessarily have to be a set line, you know. It
Yeah.
could be,
The
it
general
could range
area.
out,
Yeah, not necessarily just, it hit this spot and only right there, but because, activity does kind of wander around.
I plan on wandering a lot. I've got a lot of things I'm going to
Well,
do.
that area is really not that far from the spook light when you really,
Yeah,
when you get really right down to it in some of these other places that are, possibly,
there's just a lot of activity, a lot of energy connected in a fairly small area when you think about it.
Well, since the building's getting ready to take off,
we are too.
yeah. Are we going to try to do a show tomorrow night?
I think we're going to try to.
We might try to do a show tomorrow night. I don't know how well it's going to go because they said their internet's not that good. So
Yeah,
I'm a little concerned about trying to
we can give it a shot.
We can give it a shot, see how it goes.
And
I think it'd be fun to do a kind of an impromptu show from the call.
Well, yeah, because then we could interview the manager and so forth, and the manager. Not. Don't have to interview everyone there.
I don't have that kind of patience.
Sounds like a good job for Alice.
Alice would love that. It's too bad Tom and Jerry weren't going to do that. It'd be nice to have them on the show. Anyway.
He's making comments that he knows I won't respond to because we're on air.
All right, let's wrap this mess up. We'll try to do a live show tomorrow night from the Coleman Theater. We'll post it on Facebook too later. So if anybody's actually listening in, you guys got any closing thoughts?
I just think that I'm excited about the Coleman and seeing what we can find and perhaps expanding our territory a little bit and getting people out to new locations regardless of what event's going on down there. Go check it out.
Yep. Well, thank you everybody for coming in tonight. Appreciate you all being here, even though y'all can't tell distance.
Just remember, the paranormal is where you find it.
That's right.
The paranormal?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Is where you find it.
Find what? I ain't finding that. Some of the things I've seen in the paranormal, I don't want to find. So I want to know exactly what it is.
They may find
You're
you.
fine. You ain't got nowhere to go.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I have plenty of places to go.
You're going to go get your butt home and sit on the couch. That's what you're going to do.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Hope
We-
you all have a good night.
We appreciate it. Night,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Goodbye.